इंसान अपने जीवन में चाहे जितनी भी धन संपत्ति, सुख साधना की प्राप्ति क्यों ना कर ले, लेकिन उसका स्वास्थ्य ही उसका सबसे बड़ा धन होता है। ये कहावत सुनी हम सबने है, लेकिन आज की तेज रफ्तार दुनिया में इस बात को हम कहीं भूल गए हैं। देखा जाए तो हमारे स्वास्थ्य और कल्याण से संबंधित 70% समस्याएं गलत जीवन शैली के कारण ही होती हैं। इन सब समस्याओं से लड़ने के लिए क्रैक द वेलनेस कोड (CWC) ग्लोबल की शुरुआत सिलिकॉन वैली में की गई थी। CWC एक गैर राजनीतिक, गैर धार्मिक और गैर व्यवसायिक संस्था है जो हर उम्र के लोगों की वेलनेस यानी कि कल्याण को बढ़ाने की कोशिश करती है। अपने शरीर और मन की देखभाल करो, ये ही वो जगह है जहां हमें हमेशा रहना है। CWC सैन फ्रांसिस्को बे एरिया में एक जबरदस्त वेलनेस मूवमेंट की तरह जाना जाता है। सिलिकॉन वैली में अपने जबरदस्त काम से CWC ने अमेरिका में रहने वाले ना जाने कितने भारतीय मूल के लोगों की जिंदगी बदली है और अपनी इस अपार सफलता के बाद अब CWC ग्लोबल हमारे देश में आ रहा है CWC इंडिया फाउंडेशन के नए रूप में। वेलनेस का मतलब होता है कि हम हमारे रोजमर्रा के जीवन में ज्यादा से ज्यादा अच्छी आदतों का पालन करें ताकि आप समग्र रूप से स्वस्थ और अपना जीवन पूर्ण ऊर्जा से जिएं। स्वस्थ तन में ही रहते हैं स्वस्थ मन और विचार। अगर चाहते हैं खुश रहना तो ना होने दे इसे बीमार। CWC इंडिया फाउंडेशन का लक्ष्य है 5 साल में 50 लाख लोगों की खुशहाली को बढ़ाना और इसके लिए जो मंत्र बनाया गया है वो है E एडुकेट, I इंस्पायर, E एम्पावर, I इम्पैक्ट। अब प्रश्न है कि ये कैसे होगा। सबसे पहले बात करते हैं E यानी कि एडुकेट की। CWC इंडिया फाउंडेशन अपने पार्टिसिपेंट्स को कंटेंट के द्वारा एडुकेट करेंगे। ये कंटेंट आपको ऑनलाइन हमारी वेबसाइट पर और ऑफलाइन हमारे वेलनेस रिसोर्स सेंटर पर उपलब्ध है। वेलनेस रिसोर्स सेंटर एक ऐसी जगह है जहां आपको स्वास्थ्य से संबंधित सभी रिसोर्सेज उपलब्ध हैं। ये रिसोर्सेज विशेषज्ञों के द्वारा सुझाए गए हैं और यहां पर आपको और भी सेवाएं उपलब्ध होंगी जैसे कि योग, प्राणायाम, स्वस्थ आहार के बारे में जानकारी और लाइव वेलनेस सेशंस का भी लाभ उठा सकते हैं। साथ ही हम आपको वेबिनार्स, वर्कशॉप्स और सपोर्ट ग्रुप्स के द्वारा स्वास्थ्य विशेषज्ञों से भी जोड़ते हैं जो आपको वेलनेस पर रिसर्च बेस्ड जानकारी देते हैं। अब आते हैं आई यानी कि इंस्पायर। डॉक्टर्स, वेलनेस प्रैक्टिशनर्स और हमारे हेल्थ हीरोज के सहयोग से आपको वेलनेस के लिए प्रेरित किया जाता है। ई यानी कि एम्पावर। सहभागियों को सपोर्ट ग्रुप्स, वेबिनार्स, वेलनेस रिसोर्स सेंटर तथा और भी अन्य प्रकार की गतिविधियों से वेलनेस को अपने जीवन का अभिन्न अंग बनाने के लिए सशक्त करते हैं। आई यानी कि इम्पैक्ट। जैसा कि हमने बताया, CWC इंडिया फाउंडेशन का अगले 5 साल में कम से कम 50 लाख भारतीयों की वेलनेस पर काम करने का दृढ़ संकल्प है। CWC इंडिया फाउंडेशन वेलनेस के 10 अलग अलग आयामों पर काम करने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध है और ये है फिजिकल वेलनेस मतलब शारीरिक स्वास्थ्य, इमोशनल एंड मेंटल वेलनेस मतलब भावनात्मक और मानसिक स्वास्थ्य, इसी तरीके से ऑक्यूपेशनल वेलनेस, फाइनेंशियल वेलनेस, स्पिरिचुअल वेलनेस, कल्चरल वेलनेस, सोशल वेलनेस, एनवायरमेंटल वेलनेस, लीगल वेलनेस, टेक्निकल वेलनेस। भारत विभिन्न क्षेत्रों में अच्छा कर रहा है, लेकिन जब स्वास्थ्य और कल्याण की बात करें तो हम उसमें बहुत से देशों से पीछे हैं। आज भारत ग्लोबल वेलनेस इंडेक्स में 156 देशों में 140th रैंक पर है। आपको और हम सबको मिलकर इस स्थिति को बदलना है और भारत को इस क्षेत्र में भी आगे बढ़ाना है। आइए हम सब मिलकर इस संकल्प से जुड़ जाएं। धन्यवाद।
हेलो एंड वेलकम एवरीवन। आप सब लोगों का क्रैक द वेलनेस कोड फाउंडेशन के इस सत्र में आप सब लोगों का बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। मैं शरद कामरा आप सब लोगों का वेलकम करता हूं और धन्यवाद करता हूं कि आप इस सेशन में आए। आज का जो टॉपिक है बड़ा रुचिकर है, इंटरेस्टिंग है। अंडरस्टैंडिंग न्यूट्रीजेनोमिक्स, यानी कि जो हम जो खा रहे हैं उसका हमारी जीन्स पे क्या इम्पैक्ट होता है। तो आज के इस सत्र में हमारे पास जो एक्सपर्ट्स हैं वो हैं डॉक्टर प्रभाकर रांजेकर, जो कि एक नेशनल रिसर्च लेबोरेटरी साइंटिस्ट हैं केमिकल लेबोरेटरी से, और डॉक्टर श्री कुमार, जो कि पिछले 2 दशकों से वेलनेस में काम कर रहे हैं, सर्जन हैं, और he has treated thousands of patients. और आज का सेशन मॉडरेट मैं नहीं कर रहा हूँ। आज का सेशन मॉडरेट करने के लिए हमारे साथ डॉक्टर वंदना गर्ग हैं, जो कि एक न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट हैं। एंड डॉक्टर वंदना गर्ग के बारे में जो लोगों ने पहले हमारे सेशंस अटेंड किए वो तो जानते ही होंगे, बट जो नहीं जानते हैं उनके बारे में थोड़ा सा मैं बता देता हूँ। सो डॉक्टर वंदना गर्ग, she is a nutritionist and diet counselor from Jaipur. She is founder director of Jijivisha, which aims for finding right balance between nutritional strategies, sustainable food systems, and health. She has been an ICSSR research fellow at University of Rajasthan and has PhD in food and human nutrition. She is also one of the executive committee members of Indian Dietetic Association, Rajasthan chapter, and also a member of organizations like IPN and NetProfile. She has to accredit numerous research and review papers, which have been published in national and international journals and presented at various eminent forums. She loves experimenting on developing new recipes, which are healthy, wholesome, and nutritious. We would love to listen more on that some other session. Dr. Vanda works with people from all walks of life as a clinical dietitian and public health expert for management of gastric health, diabetes, hormonal balance, infant maternal nutrition, and sports nutrition. And she's been actively participating in public forums on health and well-being. We are really glad that Dr. Vandana, took initiative to moderate this session. Here, एक interesting combination. One research scientist from Nutrigenomics, one doctor who's a practitioner, and talking to a dietitian who really, thinks, and believes that, this is the way forward for people to think about their life and diet. So, Dr. Vandana, over to you, and we look forward to an engaging discussion today.
Thank you so much, Sharatji, for the introduction. And I'm glad that I'm over here because this particular session of Nutrigenomics, this is something that people talk about but haven't been communicated to the public where they can understand it and can execute. Or for this today, we are having like best in the field, people who are best in the field who can explain us about this. So we have got highly qualified professionals with us, who is Dr. Shri Kumar and Dr. Prabhakar Ranjekar. So I welcome you both for today's session, and and I hope that people will, everyone who is attending the session, I welcome all the guests who are attending the session on Zoom or YouTube, LinkedIn, and other forums. I hope it will be a great learning session for everyone over here. So welcome everyone. First of all, we'll start with Dr. Prabhakar Ranjekar. Welcome, sir. Sir has got 50 years of research experience. He is a fellow from Canadian Medical Research Council at Level University, Quebec City, and have served as assistant professor over there only in Canada. He retired as Director Grade Scientist, Biochemical Sciences Division, National Chemical Laboratory, Pune in 2001 after 25 years of illustrious service where he have worked deeply in the field of plant molecular biology. He's a consultant and advisor to many private companies, including Microseed Company, Centrio Pharma Company, Persistent Systems, and have played an instrumental role in the establishment of Interactive Research School for Health Affairs, Bharati Vidyapit University, Pune, while serving as a director till 2015. And since then, he has contributed his advisory services to various research institutions, private companies, scientists, and PhD scholars. In 2006, since 2006, he has been working in the field of human health, nutrition, nutritional genomics. He have initiated research products on the role of micronutrients, namely folic acid, vitamin B12, and omega-3 fatty acids in pregnancy-related disorders such as preeclampsia, preterm births, and has delivered lectures on nutrigenomics at various conferences in India. To speak of some of his many recognition that he has received the prestigious international research grant from Rockefeller Foundation USA, McKnight Foundation USA, Indus Program, and Australian International Agricultural Agency. He have more than 250 research papers and international journals of repute to his credit, and have guided many scholars. He is a fellow of the National Academy of Agricultural Sciences, New Delhi, and National Academy of Sciences, Allahabad. I welcome you, sir, and I just hope that we all learn under your light. So, sir, one question from my side. The way you have set the contest for the last sessions, it have really helped in setting the flow of the whole session, and we are really glad that you are over here with us again. तो आज का हम जब सेशन स्टार्ट करते हैं तो आई जस्ट वांट यू टू वार्म अप द ऑडियंस विद दिस पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक ऑफ न्यूट्रोजेनोमिक्स. लाइक इट विल हेल्प अस, जो भी नए ऑडियंस आए हैं हमारे साथ, आज जो लोग जुड़े हैं उनको भी एक थोड़ा आइडिया लग जाए, और जिन्होंने प्रीवियस सेशन अटेंड किया है उनके लिए भी एक वार्म अप हो जाए. तो ओवर टू यू सर.
Thank you, Vandana ji. Thank you, Sharad ji, also, and thank you for giving me a very detailed introduction. And I have been thinking how I should make a beginning. So the CWC, Crack the Wellness Code, but before that, we also have Crack the Genetic Code, because I thought that is something very interesting, because unless you crack the genetic code, you cannot go further. And for this cracking the genetic code, that is DNA and how it codes for the protein, that is the idea. And two scientists got a Nobel Prize on for cracking the genetic code, and they are Nirenberg and Mathai. I don't want to go into detail, but just I thought cracking the wellness code and cracking the genetic code. So I am going to go for the genetic code, and of course the nutrigenomics is a follow-up of that. And today nutrigenomics, the science of individualized nutrition. So nutrition, we all of us are very familiar, but then the genomics part, I thought of giving information about who is the father of genomics. I thought only one slide I am giving you, and I think we should even everybody should know the father of genomics, because when we are talking of nutrigenomics, naturally the curiosity arises, what is genomics? Genomics is basically a total genetic code that is there in the nucleus, and we call it DNA, RNA, protein, and so that is the genomics. And the father of genomics is Frederick Sanger. He is a Cambridge-based scientist, and he has received 2 Nobel Prizes. This is a very unique feature, and he got the first Nobel Prize for his work on protein sequencing. The protein happens to be insulin protein. And then later on, after almost 20 years or so, he got another Nobel Prize for DNA sequencing. And this is a basic step, because after his discovery of DNA sequencing, then we had a complete human genome was sequenced in around 2000, a huge teamwork for complete genome human genome sequencing. So this is just a brief introduction. We will come to our topic of how did the nutrigenomic science emerge? When did it emerge? Of course, it has to emerge after the full deciphering of the DNA sequence of human genome, because that is a prerequisite, and that is why I thought of telling about the father of genomics, that is Frederick Sanger. So why nutrigenomics has emerged? Because we all know the incidence of the lifestyle diseases that has been continuously increasing, and we also know that various factors are responsible, and among them nutrition plays a very important role. And keeping nutrition in mind, scientists have come up with a new field called nutrigenomics, and basically it talks about how nutrition reacts with the gene and how genes determine the human nutrition. So the next slide talks about how it is a new wave. It has all emerged in around 2002 and 2003. And the term nutrigenomics, I am always interested who coined the term nutrigenomics. And here we have the information that Nancy Fogg Johnson and Alex Meroli, they coined this term Nutrigenomics in their paper Issue on Nutraceutical World in March 2000. So friends, we are talking about a science which is a new wave, a new frontier, and it is about now 22 years old. And it is a logical extension of the field of biotechnology, molecular medicine, and pharmacogenomics. See, genomics is a common word for many areas. Like nutrigenomics, we are talking about. There is also the word called pharmacogenomics. I will be happy to talk about pharmacogenomics as one of the future topic. We also have the eugenomics. I think you may have heard that Ayurveda is an extremely important traditional science, extremely important for the health of the mankind. And there also the genomics has come, and the word is now called as nutrigenomics. In the next slide, some of the key points I have just outlined very briefly. That is, what are the key points in this discipline? So what are we doing? Identifying and understanding individual and population differences and similarities in gene expression. Now, since we are talking of genomics, we have to talk about the gene expression. Then the another key element that distinguishes nutrigenomics and nutrition. Nutrition classically is treating everyone alike, whereas with the advent of genomics, we don't treat all individuals alike. It is a customized, individualized nutrition. So that is the difference it has made. In the next one, now this is a brief introduction for nutrigenomics research, how it has emerged. Now I want to give you information. What is the nutrigenomics research all around the globally? What is the international status of nutrigenomics research? Again, in the University of California, Davis, the first center came, the first center of excellence, the center of excellence for nutritional genomics came, and it is an initiative. It was established in 2003 to explain the links between diet, genes, and diseases. See, these are the three keywords we will be repeating all the time. Nutrition, that is diet, how they affect the genes, and how it has relevance to the human diseases. And that is why it is an area of direct relevance to human health. The next one, the global network of experience and expertise. This is just again, if we want to develop nutrigenomics for the benefit of the mankind, for the benefit of health, these are the key points. That research and development is one, clinical trials, that is also very important. Then of course, regulatory, IP, that is intellectual property, and then manufacturing of the products, and then of course, enterprise and development. This is the kind of a complete network we need to develop while carrying out the translation of nutrigenomics research for the human health. This is another university. I just thought, now I don't want to take too much of time, but international level, this is being studied during last almost 20 years. Penn State is another example, which is a Department of Veterinary and Biomedical Science. And again, they study the interaction of dietary components with the genome, and which is leading to the gene expression. And the CEN focuses on molecular nutrition. PSU, nutrigenomics can fulfill. PSU means Penn State College of Agriculture Science, can fulfill the goal of understanding nutrition. And then the most important is from the table to the gene and back again. This is what is highlighted in our poster also. The success stories of the Penn State, this is again for a common man. We all know about it, but this is how they have come up with the products, and they call it success stories of their research on nutrigenomics. Walnuts, pistachio, fish oil. Then conjugated linolenic acid, again, it is a part of omega-3 fatty acid and high antioxidant spices. So that is the outcome of their research on nutrigenomics at Penn State. Then next comes the European Nutrigenomics Organization. And again, the same points, they are trying to link genomic, nutrition, and health research. I won't go into the details, but then this is just for the information for the common man that after USA, the nutrigenomics, in the European community also developed the nutrigenomics research, and Netherlands Nutrigenomics Center. I happened to visit this place also a long time back, and there is a university called Wageningen University, very much involved in the research on nutrition, metabolism, and genomics. After talking about the research activities in USA and in Europe, I come back to a very small country, New Zealand, and it is a good example for a country like India, how New Zealand has developed world-class expertise, facilities, products, and services to serve the food and health sector through. They have given some key points. I won't go too much into detail, but bioactive compounds in food items, which are again plant origin, health biomarkers, they call it genetic screening for predisposition and occurrence of inflammatory diseases. This is again a very important, and Dr. Sri Kumar may highlight about the genetic screening. Conducting clinical trials, again Dr. Sri Kumar will tell us about that. Personalized nutrition, Vandanaji must be very familiar about personalized nutrition because each person is different, and that is why we need to have a personalized nutrition support. Then of course support clinicians in their advice to their clients and so on. So in New Zealand, there is a lady called Professor Lynette Ferguson. She has also written a book, Nutrigenomics and Nutrigenetics in Functional Foods and Personalized Nutrition. Look, the title is so elaborate and so relevant. Functional foods, we had a webinar in the last Sunday, and then how personalized nutrition, and it tells us how the book addresses what is needed to bring nutrigenomics, nutrigenetics, and their associated technologies to market in a truly impactful way. Governance of Nutrigenomics Center, again, I thought I won't go talk about this, but this is for your record. And if you want to develop a complete bench to medicine, that is bench to patients, bench to bed, I think all this networking is very important. I won't talk too much because we don't have time to go into details. Next one. Impact of nutrigenomics. This is the last part of my lecture.
Yes, sir, we were very much looking forward for this topic.
Impact of nutrigenomics on human health. And again, we are talking about diet and genes and how nutrigenomics is trying to probe the relationship between genes and diet, how diet is the key to controlling a person's genetic susceptibility to disease, and how a particular nutrient may bring about alteration in gene expression. And this is what I think Dr. Sri Kumar also may be talking, manifesting a chronic disease, while introduction of some other nutrient may reverse the process. Next one. Improving quality of life and achieving healthy aging. This is exactly all of us we want. And that is what nutrigenomics has the potential to improve the quality of life and achieve healthy aging. I think the last slide, I think, is coming. Development of personalized diets in subjects at risk. I won't go into more details. And this is again a topic of great interest. And I'm looking forward to the lecture of Dr. Sri Kumar. And before ending, I just want to emphasize that we should all make an effort to develop a center of excellence in nutrigenomics with inputs from various disciplines of the society. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for explaining this particular triangle of genome, diet, and diseases, how these things interact, and like what are the factors where we can work so as to build a table of excellence, the way you are saying the center of excellence. So I hope people or government bodies who are maybe watching this webinar will be coming forward for the collaborations, and we might take it way forward. Thank you so much, sir, for giving us all the insights about the topic. And जैसे आपने बताया है कि श्री कुमार जी will be explaining more about these things in detail in the coming part. So thank you, sir. Now I welcome Dr. Shri Kumar, sir, for the next part of today's webinar. Welcome, sir. Dr. Shri Kumar is a medical doctor and ENT surgeon by profession with fellowship from Australian College of Nutritional and Environmental Medicine. He has more than 4 decades of rich international experience as a medical practitioner, with last 2 decades dedicated to his path-breaking research and practices in the field of wellness and nutrigenomics through various foundations established by him, such as BioWell, Dr. Shri Integrative Functional Medicine Hospital, Kochi, Shokya Foundation, Wellness Solution, Nutrigenomics, Indian Nutritional Medical Association. He has to his credit thousands of patients who were suffering from different lifestyle disorders. He is conducting fellowship program for hundreds of doctors from India, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, USA, and Middle East. So far, he have himself conducted 11 international nutritional and environmental medicine conferences. He is a regular invitee to many medical institutions in Malaysia, Indonesia, Dubai, Muscat, Australia, UK, USA as an international faculty. He had also initiated 100 plus clubs, conducted fellowship program, initiated PG diploma in wellness, University of Mysore Right for Health initiative covering 250,000 population in association with National Human Rights Commission of India, and have conducted school wellness program for students covering more than 1 lakh students per year. Conducting wellness, he's also continuously conducting workplace wellness programs. He's a life member and past president of Pendulum Indian Medical Association, life member of AOI and past president of Kerala AOI. He's life member of Red Cross Society and past president of Rotary Club Cochin Central. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
So what we have understand so far is that nutrigenomics is how it have evolved over the last years. Can you say that the discovery helps in filling the lacunas of the modern conventional medicine?
Yeah. I'll be explaining that, especially when I come to the in depth in my presentation, because the nutrigenomics will be actually covering most of the areas. And one of the most important thing is I am thankful to Dr. Prabhakar, who has laid the foundation. So because a lot of things which has got a strong basic scientific foundation, because a lot of doctors were used to tell me, where is the science behind? I said, there is only the science that is supporting nutrigenomics or genomic way of maybe managing health and also managing diseases. So anyway, I will be, because in my limited time, I will be sharing my slides now.
Yes, sir.
So I hope you can, everybody can see the slides.
Yes, sir, we can very well see the slides.
Okay. Now this is, I have made the personalized functional health, because mostly hospitals and doctors treat diseases, and the diseases are being attacked by a lot of medicines and other things. So here, my aim is to improve the function of the individual, function of the organ, and function at the cellular level, and also function at the epigenetic level. So that is why when you say from the basic foundation, basic science, is really supporting the nutrigenomics part. So anyway, I'll go from where Prabhakar has stopped. Nutrigenomics clearly explains the value of nutrition and its importance in the genes manipulation and gene expression. And it is the most important thing in our metabolism, cellular metabolism that's happening. And also how to deal with the environment, environmental pollution, that is of most important. And another thing is we have changed our lifestyle. So Nutrigenomics can adapt to all these things, and the science and technology which is coming up in a big way. Actually, we have to merge all these things into the technology and scientific aspect, and then only we can link the traditional wisdom. Traditional wisdom, I mean by saying that, okay, Indian wisdom or Indian systems are there, which is very, very strong, but we have to link it with science and link it with genes and link it with epigenetics and through the Western science, and then deliver it as a health care. So if you really look into the systems, medical systems, which has been there for over the years, 3000 to 1500 BC, it was Ayurveda. 3000 to 2000 BC, it was traditional Chinese medicine. 500 BC, Hippocrates have come. 50 BC, Roman medicine has come. 19th century, modern medicine has evolved. Then came a lot of alternate systems of medicine. Wellness actually originated in the year 1650, but today we can say it is a modern or scientific version of the wellness that is coming into picture. So this is the history of medicine, and you can see the history of where we come from. The Earth was an ice globe when it was originated. 600 million years after Earth is formed, single cell organisms started. And it was remained like that for almost 2.75 billion years. And around 750 million years ago, cells started to become smart. So in the sense that single cell became multicellular and they developed into colonies. Then they developed into cytological specialization and genes came into the picture. Smart beings and then became animals because the plants are fixed at one place, animals can move around. And finally, man came with around 25,000 genes of the 2 billion information that is stored inside your body. And that is maybe actually when we talk about, I told this two words like share and care, because the genes are sharing and caring each other and making one human being as a single person, not as a single cell. Now, modern man has transformed by science and technology and changing the genetic expression. So we have to understand that we are responsible for all the changes that we are seeing today. And that is why we are landing with a lot of problems also. So from there, we look into the medical care. We said natural to herbal. Natural medicine was there in the olden days. Then came to herbal medicine. And because this change is because of our health to disease concentration came. Presently, we are in the modern medical, conventional medical system is organ and disease specific. So we know that we have been pumped with medicines. And you can see on the other side, the increasing number of disease. And Dr. Vandana has told about me because I am practicing for the last 40 years. When I joined medical school, the first time I am seeing a big hospital. Before that, I didn't visit a hospital. But today, you will ask any child or any person who is entering the medical field, starting from birth to anything, you are in a hospital. Advanced technology and interventions came, so we developed a lot of specializations, but actually there is no cure. And because of that, a lot of frustrations and sufferings have come. So integration of the functional health and wellness through nutrigenomics is the solution. So the dream is coming true, personalized medicine, because that was a dream of any doctor for the any number of years. Personalized medicine was not there. So that is why we have shifted to disease-oriented medicine, so it was much easier to convey. But unfortunately, today it is not working, only diseases are increasing. So the game changer is epigenetics, as Dr. Prabhakar has gracefully put it. And I will say, you can see this is coming from our nucleus, the chromosome, and the genes. Actually, they are epigenetic tags which regulate the gene expression by acting as gatekeepers. So they can either switch on or switch off. So this is where it comes. So we know that we are actually having billions of information stored in these genes. And in man, around 25,000 to 35,000 genes work in coordination. These chemical tags such as methyl or acetyl groups are directly to the DNA or into histones. They act like a large spool-like proteins which is turned around the DNA which is tightly wound in the histones. So DNA methylation masks certain regions on the genome, whereas modifications to these histones can loosen or tighten. So this is where our genetic expression is changing either to health or to the disease. And this is the area where actually for a healthcare provider, we have to clearly see and what all things we can interfere in this area. So majority of the people today are sick. So you can say that is the most important. So non-communicable lifestyle disease like diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, cancer, autoimmune diseases, a lot of things are coming, especially we call it as lifestyle disease and say it is the lifestyle is the reason. Then came the communicable disease. So if you really look into the picture that is coming, along with the lifestyle disease, the epidemics or the infective disease also are changing and changing into very various epidemics, and now we can say pandemics. So accidents are on the rise, violence on the rise, tension, fear, anxiety, and stress on the rise. And you can see our environment is filled with all contaminants. So we get air, water, and food is filled with poisons only. So if you look into the modern diet, so what made us the different? Because today we depends on all these things like agriculture, as Prabhakar was mentioning about a lot of agricultural scientists have to interfere, and fertilizers that we are using. So one other thing, any chemical that you put into the soil, you will get it back through vegetables and fruits. Pesticides you put it, you get it. Processing, storage, cooking fuel, appliances, utensils, you can say habits which we created. This is actually the modern diet, and you can see that why we are not able to tackle the present situation or the environment where we are living in. So before going into the epigenetic part, I have to talk about this most important thing because this is our environment, exposome. This represents combined exposure of all sources, and this can be present in your body fluids, organ and cells, and include both endogenous and exogenous factors. That means something coming your body is making in response to something. Same thing happened, especially when COVID is coming, your body is making a lot of toxins in the body, and that is actually destroying us. So that is, we call it as endogenous toxins that is affecting us. So even though, but in every person it is not the same. So that is why some people more endogenous toxin and patient goes for a lot of complications. And if you look into, because why exposome is important, genomics account 10% of the diseases and remaining 90% is depend on your environment. So you have to correlate epigenome with exposome for a scientific prevention and management of diseases. And why this is very significant, because if you really look outside, you can see a very, very powerful and very, very fast flowing dynamic environment. But if you look into your cells and the cellular molecular science, you can see at the epigenetic level, we are also very much dynamic. So it is, so you have to actually balance these two together. So the environmental dynamism and our internal cellular dynamism has to be balanced. When this is going out of balance, you are becoming sick. So that is why we have to manage at the cellular and the epigenetic level if you want to stay in good health. So this is just to show that what is environment doing in our life. You can see all these things are happening at the, when you look into oxygen, which is a very powerful thing which we need from air, and oxygen is being affected by all these pollutants, and what we get is a reactive oxygen species, and which is going to injure the cell. And that is why when you, because when I say yoga is very good for health, but you always have to see when you breathe in air, you are getting all these things. So you are getting a lot of oxygen which is damaging us, and this can injure. So you should know how to balance the two together. So I used to say, especially when India is the forerunner of promoting yoga, I should say you have to prepare for yoga. Just like I'm basically a surgeon. So just like preparing a patient for surgery, when you say, okay, this is your yoga practice you have to prepare the person for how to do the yoga, and otherwise all these things will happen. Then we'll be wondering what happens when everybody cannot go to the remote places like mountains or Himalayas and do this yoga. So you'll be doing this at your workplace or at your home. So you can see that all these pollutants are around you. And the real destroyer is, I will say, because this is more chemistry, and I think the central one, which you can see this oxygen molecule that is being denoted here is called superoxide. Superoxide is actually the toxin. This can destroy you or kill you. And this superoxide, normally we have 4% of our oxygen intake is superoxide. And why this is there? Because this is stimulating your immune system, and this is responsible for the body defense, especially phagocytosis. But actually, what happens today is too much of superoxide is being produced and is converted into hydrogen peroxide, hydroxyl radicals. And the last step is not happening in most of the cases. That is why we land up with oxidative stress, and that is one of the reasons for most of the diseases that we talk about in lifestyle disease and also in epidemics or in infectious diseases. So what is the nutrigenomics doing? So you can see if you look at a diagram, so the nutrition is on the top, then comes the gene. So you can see the interaction is affecting here. Nutrition affecting your gene, and which is affecting both ways. So today nutrition is coming and affecting your genes, and we are getting all the detrimental outcome like cholesterol, glucose, insulin resistance, blood pressure, and all these things. And the same thing you can, if you correct here, you can actually manipulate here and come into the beneficial area of good lipids, good glucose, and lower the blood pressure and lower the cancer risk and reduce the cardiovascular. And all these complications of that we see today can be affected because this is and anybody can just understand what is the role of nutrition in genetic or epigenetic management of disease. So you can see in epigenetics and environmental in disease, you can say oxidative stress, which I already said why it is coming, regulates the expression of genes governing glucose metabolism, lipid metabolism, and protein metabolism. The basic, all these metabolic changes are happening there. And this is leading to endothelial dysfunction. Endothelium is the largest surface area inside our body, which is actually covering the whole cardiovascular system. So endothelial dysfunction is happening. So this can lead to any dysfunction, any part of the organ. So then comes the insulin. So there is a hormonal imbalance, which we term it as insulin resistance. And because insulin, along with insulin, you can see thyroid and other endocrine glands, which is malfunctioning or goes into imbalance and creating more diseases. And also we have altered insulin secretion, all these things leading to various diseases or the present health status, especially in the initial slide, talking about where India stands in the wellness level. So why we are not having wellness, especially in India, why we are going up in the ladder in the disease creation, and this is where we have to correct it. And what we do, especially I am basically involved because we have divided to three major divisions. Because as you already know, because I was telling about the free radicals and other thing that is coming up and reactive oxygen species. And you can see along with a lot of toxins in there. So we have to detox. Detoxification, even in olden days, it was there, especially during fasting and yoga and all these things used to detox. But today, that is not enough. So you have to be consciously doing detoxification at the cellular level, at the liver level, kidneys, colon, and even on the skin. So this detoxification is the key for the first step for achieving good health. Then you have to optimize. Along with that, you have to start how to optimize the gene expression, or you can say the epigenetic level. So you can see that activated synthesis. Sometimes when you detox itself, this will be activated. So these are all going together. So if gene is switched off, sometimes I have seen people are taking a lot of nutritional supplements or dietary changes, lot of diet, but there is no difference. Why this happens? Because this gene is switched off, and there is no way that you can correct it until otherwise you detoxify it. So detoxification should be in alongside the optimization of the genetic expression, and then have to have the integration of the cellular function level. So you can say that optimize the endogenous cellular defense mechanism. I concentrate mostly at the cell membranous level because everybody overlook the membrane. Membrane is so powerful and it is all damaged. A damaged cell membrane, what all nutrients you are giving, it is not going to work because the metabolism can never happen in a deranged cellular membrane or cell membrane wall. And then comes the balancing of biochemistry with the hormones. So this is the headings or the areas through which I normally manipulate at the patient or the persons who come to me. So what we do is our protocol. So first, when somebody comes in, we do a genetic metabolic assessment. So initially, especially at the epigenetic assessment, maybe I was the first doctor to start it in India some years back. That is why the Nutrigenomics, at that time I launched that company also. At that time, the registrar of company asked me, what is this Nutrigenomics? I said, okay, you don't know, it is a new name that will come in the future. So that fellow was also looking at, otherwise maybe they would not have given me that company name as a Nutrigenomics. Because at that time when we started, it was so expensive. And then I understood, even I have done my genetic profiling, epigenetic profiling and all. Then I understood one thing, because it is a big book. And if you want to go through it, it is so tough. And second thing, maybe you are risky to something, but you may not get it. So epigenetic analysis alone cannot do the trick. So what I have followed is, and secondly, it was very expensive, so it was very difficult to convince a patient. So if I do epigenetic analysis, what best I can give? That was another thing, because I am a person who, if you do investigate, then you have to give a solution. If you are not, if so, without a solution, why you want to investigate? So what I have found, then I have come out with an epigenetic profiling of the person, especially on questionnaires. So epigenetic and metabolic assessment through questionnaires it came. So I'll be showing in the next slide what is it. And this is the first assessment that I do, and then we have to go for the genome metabolic therapy. So epigenetic level, how the metabolism can be managed. And sometimes you may have to give conventional medicine also. So especially people who are sick, and when they come, and it will be you have to do the conventional medicine along with that. And we have developed a system of how to monitor the patient, because you cannot just give a diet or just give a advice and so we have made the wellness monitoring system through markers which is developed individually, and then we can ask the patient to monitor it, and something the clinician or the wellness coach or the wellness educator can do. Even a nutritionist can follow it up. So then we are calculating what is the end result. So quality added life in years, so we call it as QALY. So this is what because this is how we used to monitor and assess how the patient is responding. So in assessment, what we have, these are the things that we do in an assessment, especially there's a questionnaire which completely covers the methylation aspect. And so you can see whether it is hypo or hyper or normal or balanced methylation system. So the genomic questionnaire comes in that. And we have a metabolic questionnaire, the present status of their health comes in that. Then we do investigations, all the other things. Before investigations, we also have a hormonal and nutritional assessment. So these four things are the basic components, especially without touching the patient's blood. In a healthy patient, maybe this much is enough. First four things are enough. So you can actually correct their metabolism, correct their genome-metabolic balance, and even make them run a good life even with only these four, because you don't have to go for any investigations until otherwise you wanted to make it as a presentation or doing something like that. So in metabolic investigations, what we do is hematology. Especially I mainly look for the complete blood count and peripheral smear, and biochemistry or biochemical analysis, toxicology, especially mainly I do copper, zinc, lead and mercury. Then hormones. So I don't look all the hormones. The major hormones I just cover is insulin, thyroid, and basically if it is a woman, I will take the female ovarian hormones. In man, you take testosterone and also cortisol level along with that. Because in the same sample, I don't care whether it is fasting or random or any time of the day or night, you can check this, because you are actually looking at the balance, not at the reference range. So then comes the minerals, immunity markers, like especially you can see inflammatory markers. Presently we do D-dimer, homocysteine and CRPs. Cancer markers, if any suspicion is there. Otherwise, even I don't believe in the cancer markers at present, because that is not a diagnostic thing. But if a person comes with a cancer and I am following it up, then I will look up this. Then also some vitamins like B12 and minerals like magnesium, calcium, and all those things we do. And then there are certain investigations depending upon the persons, maybe additional something if you want to do, if you have to do. Then we have to go for a complete clinical examination as a novel. So then we develop a report. This is called a personalized report, is genome metabolic report. and this follows the advice. So this is the basic guidelines in which we manage, especially nutrigenomic advice. So we have a questionnaire. So basic things, if it is not a patient or if the person is not suffering any disease, I don't care. I don't care at the investigations, but otherwise I will be, if a sick person comes, I'll do the investigations, then all these things, and then gives the report and advice. So this is what the initial stage. So what we do, so especially when you say the therapeutic level, how you can interfere at the epigenetic level. So for that, we actually look into the bioactive food. Especially, I think Dr. Prabhakar was talking about the bioactive food. So that means any food that you are consuming, any food that you are consuming should be active at the biological point of view, especially at the epigenetic end. Otherwise, don't a junk food like that. So that is very essential for nutrigenomics. Then functional food. So as I already said, my first aim is to repair the cell membrane. Definitely there is because when the person is saying stress and tension, too much of anxiety, fear, definitely the cell membrane has lost its power. So the most important thing that is actually required here is fatty acids. I think bilipid layer. So you have to give good fat, and I concentrate more on omega-3. And you have to see that diet should contain very rich and good natural fat. Before prescribing, supplying to the supplements, I say what all possible ways of doing this you can give. Then you have to have the energy metabolism. So sometimes what we see, because in my experience, what I have seen is when the energy metabolism, everybody looks at blood sugar level. But actually what I do is blood sugar level, insulin level, then comes the lipid profile. So I normally check the balance between the insulin, blood sugar, and triglycerides. You can definitely see what is going wrong. So it is not the sugar that you have to manage. You have to correct this balance. Then you can say that you can. So maybe the cofactors are the deficient here. That is why we are having a diabetic or other things. Because if you correct this balance, you can reverse diabetes. So if you are not, if it is not blood sugar correction only. If you so on one stretch, sometimes you can say today people are seeing a lot of fatty liver. So I don't check the ultrasound for fatty liver. I check at the, along with that, you look at the liver function test. You can see that maybe liver enzymes are going higher, along with triglyceride, along with insulin, along with other hormones like cortisol, and you can see thyroid going down. So protein manufacture has to be protein manufacturing, and so if you can manage here, then protein supporting maybe supplement is good. Otherwise, you cannot work on protein alone, because protein will not do anything if there is no enough energy metabolism happens, or if the cell membrane is weak. Then we have to correct, especially waste disposal, because one area where I think modern medicine has lost one of this thing is, we give medicines, we do surgery, but we don't know how to throw the waste that is accumulated in the body because of the treatment. So this has to come through the liver to the gut and the kidney. So we are very much concentrating on the waste disposal mechanisms also. So this is the functional food. So we are concentrating on these areas, and then the pre and probiotics, which is very, very things, and other wellness protocols in this. What I meant is yoga, meditation, exercise. Then comes maybe far infrared, maybe hyperbaric oxygen or ozone therapy. A lot of things are non-toxic therapies we employ before going for any conventional chemicals or surgical procedure. So this is for this is the most of this. The most importantly, you can see that everything is coming in food only. Up to probiotic, pre and probiotics, it is the food that has to come and work at the epigenetic level. So therapy, the principles of epigenetic stimulation. So one of the things one we have to understand is, when you do yoga, meditation, and prayer, you are stimulated your epigenetics. Only stimulation, nothing else will come. Physical workout, only stimulation. Solid and liquid food. So along with this, you have to give these two things, and a food that has life. So I came out with a concept which is already there, which is called as living food. Why this living food? Because if this is not there, then this will not work. Living food is food that is fresh and that contains biophotons, which is very active. And biophotons are nothing but sunlight which is stored in the plants or fruits, and it has to come up with along with these things. Then only you can actually strengthen the epigenetics and the other strengthening. Then only there is the good dosage of bioactive food and high dose nutrients will work only with these things. So you can see all these three things are not separate, but it has to be in combination. You have to give it. Then only high dose nutrients will work, because I am giving high dose nutrients, especially at therapeutic level. So if it has to work, I have to work here. Then comes diet. You can say energy boosting nutrients, amino acid rich food, vegetable source is better, especially if you want high protein diet. Fatty acid ratios, right ratio, especially omega 3, 6, and 9 has to. So you can see the energy boosting nutrients with protein and good fat. So you can see the combination of the principles, especially on nutrigenomics, diet, epigenetic strengthening. So you have to understand all these things. You can stimulate your epigenetics, but if there is no raw materials to strengthen your genetic expression, then it will fail. So this is what happens, especially when we say about, and I think a couple of decades back, it was the neuro-linguistic programming was very, very prominent, but now it is failing because that stimulation is not enough, or just a motivation is not enough. You have to feed the cells, and you have to make your genes happy. Then only genes express happy molecules in your system. So we say the principles are assessment, detox, mental empowerment, and we use a lot of all the nutrients are available through injections now. Starting from carbohydrate, protein, fat, vitamins, minerals, you take anything, everything is there. So you have to, so based on the, depending upon the patient's this thing, so we are doing this because this is going to be the first line management, because I will explain in 2-3 cases when I am explaining it. So injectable nutrients work, especially when you do all these things, because it is actually empowering the body, and then you do anything that you want. Maybe you can do give medicines, or you can even in emergency medicine. I have spotted one emergency medicine example also in this. So you can see that why this work, and otherwise if you just give an injectable nutrient, it will never work. So you have to analyze everything and give. Then oral nutrients, conventional medicines only if necessary, and if you want to refer and get an opinion from any specialist. So this is the primary health care is never on speciality or specialist. So that is why I was recommending, especially when the National Human Rights Commission, a primary healthcare facility should be manned by health and wellness coach or educator, not the allopathy doctor or that any other doctor, because they will be treating only disease. So you want the people to be healthy. So healthcare solution means you have to improve the health. So then comes the wellness monitoring system. So here what we have, along with the wellness report, we have actually personalized the markers and give to the patient. So they can do some, for example, severe pain or breathlessness. So we will mark initially and tell them how to mark it. Then we tell them, okay, you mark it every day. And maybe if there is something definitely wrong, you can call or can come. Or otherwise, when you come for a monthly review, you can see where it is going to. So especially when you are dealing with nutrition and natural therapies, one of the things that happens is this will take some days to stabilize. So after that, you can see the improvement is coming maybe after 10 days or something. Slowly and slowly it is coming. After 1 month, you can actually correct the dosage or correct the procedures of what all things you have advised the patient, especially on dietary supplements, exercise, yoga, meditation, everything. So if a patient is fresh coming, I will not say don't do, I will tell them don't do yoga or exercise now till I say, because you have to prescribe, because they are coming for a target, either to improve health or to reverse the disease. So that is why they have to review by themselves. So they will become more conscious about their own health. I think especially wellness. Then you can see we are training a lot of our staff is trained. So we call them as educators. I don't say it is a nurse or anything. Maybe we can call anything, or a nutritionist. We have a lot of nutritionists working with us. So we can educate them how to assess and then review, and you can give they can give the report. Then you can say that okay, the person is doing good or bad. And if maybe you can see various factors are there. Something is going good and something is going bad. So you can correct there. So it is much more easier to balance the wellness markers if you follow it correctly. So based on that, we actually look at the quality of life in years, especially personalized monitoring and markers recording, investigate the markers, and monthly assessment for 3 months, especially this is mainly for treating diseases, and then once in 6 months. And interference is based on longevity, personal markers review, and investigation markers review. So all these three things come in for if you when you say okay this patient you have a very good improvement in his life or her life. So what you really see is epigenetics show that the methylation is very powerful epigenetic reaction, and I don't want to go into the details because this methylation reaction, everything will be taking a long time. This itself can be 1 or 2 hour session because we used to do it very regularly. Methylation can repress the gene transcription, including the transcription of oncogenes, especially on cancer. So nutritional status, particularly the micronutrient intake, has been the focal point when investigating epigenetic mechanisms. So it is not the macronutrients alone, it's the micronutrient density is the key in especially with the lifestyle disease of today. So to optimize methylation, we have a lot of things. For example, dark green leafy vegetables. You can see the sunflower seeds and wheat germ, which offer a lot of B6 vitamins. Fish and eggs will give B6 and B12. Cheese will give you B12. So even vegetarians, some people say vegetarians where you get B12. So you can say, when I say cheese, it should be better homemade cheese, not the thing that may be coming out. Beans and walnuts offer a lot of folates and B6. Dark green vegetables, especially asparagus, almonds, and whole grains, deliver a lot of folic acid. So liver, some people like liver, so it also contains, these are the components, B6 and B12. Minimize animal protein, that is my suggestion, sugar and fat. Because if there is a homocysteine, is mainly caused by the animal protein and the depletion by the sugar and saturated fat. So avoid processed food and deplete vitamins. So caffeine, if you take too much, it will deplete vitamins. So normally I say if people who loves coffee, I say take black coffee with either butter or ghee. So that will be the best option because that can improve the metabolism. But don't take too much. So people who are taking regularly alcohol, I said limit alcohol as much as possible. As too much alcohol can deplete minerals and vitamins, it will be thrown out because I have seen a lot of studies which shows that alcohol will throw the magnesium out through the urine, so they produce more craving. It is not alcohol alone. All sweet food, especially biscuits, chocolates, ice creams. So people who are addicted to it, they are losing magnesium through their urine, so you get more craving and you become sick. So prebiotics and probiotics, especially fermented food, I used to add too much, and maybe sometimes in specific cases you may have to add prescription of pre and probiotics. So our natural methylators are herbs and betaine for stomach acid. So a lot of herbs and betaine can be added for improving stomach acid. Today, what we find in acidity is not actually acidity; it is low acid in your stomach. So you have to add this. It is not, you don't have to add antacids because antacids are gone. Today, even if you want to contain the H. pylori, you have to have good amount of betaine or stomach acid. Then only you can contain it is not by giving antibiotics or proton pump inhibitors. So fruits like banana, strawberry, raspberry, and all these things are good. Juices, you can have mixed juices like all these. So these are natural methylators. So if there is a methylation cycle, or if you can see the hypomethylation, you can look into all these things. So these are some of the studies which showed, because I don't want to go into this a lot of because I just wanted to put it that all these are studied, and a lot of articles have come in various journals, integrative medicine, especially this was Hindwai evidence-based complementary and alternate medicine 2017. So they are all reviewing at the epigenetic mechanisms of the integrative medicine. That is the most powerful, and it is coming into the clinical medicine in a big way. So this is on meditation. So what is the meditation doing? So this is actually some genes, especially FKBP5 and SLCA4 and BDNF. All these genes are being stimulated by. So meditation is really good. When you stimulate that is the only thing. But I say you have to prepare. So if you say do meditate and improve your health, that means you have to nourish your body very well. And especially this is very much especially essential for endocrine neuronal and behavioral functions. So again, Harvard Medical School study in 2017, after meditating for 15 minutes daily for 8 weeks, the meditators had changes in 172 genes that control inflammation, sleep-wake rhythms in the body, and how sugar progresses. And this is actually, it is published in 2018, so it is very, very powerful article which has come in Health and Wellness. And Harvard to say again, make markers of aging in our cells after people wake up. So that is also very, very essential, especially when you say, and perhaps we presently lack time and the means to emphasize on the test to entire effects of yoga lifestyle, or even even into tapasacharya. But if evolution is to be believed, certainly the growing practice of mind-body interventions like yoga and their growing popularity will one day have their say in our genetic makeup. So this is coming up in a big way. So balance is okay. So all these things we just showing that okay, why Nutrigenomics especially work, and especially with all these combinations. So this is published in Journal of Clinical Epigenetics in 2018. So this is another presentation on yoga, especially in 2018 January. Around 10,660 cancer patients from 20 countries were recruited for studies. Regardless of some methodological deficiencies, most of the studies reported that yoga improved physical and psychological symptoms, quality of life, and markers of immunity of the patients, providing a strong support for yoga's integration into conventional cancer care. So it has got a very, very powerful role. So bioactive food. So again comes the lot of, so this is actually published in 2012. Clinical chemicals in food that can activate your epigenetics and life. And so why this is essential in modern world. The consumption of high palatable diets like rich in carbohydrates and fats in association with sedentary lifestyle has dramatically increased and therefore metabolic syndrome and neurodegenerative disease, which are reaching an epidemic proportions. This is very, very correct today, because you can see that it is so much. It is especially metabolic syndrome leading to neurodegenerative disease and suffering people. Especially I have seen a lot of, because the number of people who are coming, especially who are very active, coming at 40, 45 years. So that is too much. And it is that they will be having their normal maybe lifespan, but they are suffering like anything. So now comes the bioactive, especially the most powerful biophotons, eating your sunlight. We are still on the threshold of understanding the complex relationship between light and life, but we say that it has come in a big way. And even though this Dr. Fritz Albert Pope has put up this research, and now the latest research shows that okay, this is very, very powerful, and we have come out with maybe in diagnostics. Actually soon I think MRI and PET CT scan will be replaced by light scans and other things that is already there and started in the institutes in US. So biophotonic therapy eliminates bacteria and virus from the organs before transplantation. This is again a Sao Paulo Research Foundation they have found. In 2019 they published it. So that means even for a transplant. So instead of putting up medications or other immune suppressants, biophoton therapy is working much better. So biophoton therapy means a light that has got life. So that is called biophotons. So again, Biontology Arizona, March newsletter 2019, biophoton light therapies, and German researchers have proven with special equipment created that photons stored in our DNA, and there is that can be transformed, and there is no need of chemotherapy or invasive surgeries to cure the body of cancer. So a lot of things are coming, especially biophotons. It has to come through the food. That is affecting not only it is actually transforming the epigenetics to stop the oncogenes, and so that you can see that you don't need any other dangerous medicines to work for your cancer. The Rhine lab is working that with chi masters, martial artists, yogis. They have claimed that for centuries that flow of energy, prana, and all manipulated with established physical evidence that this energy or chi exists in the form of biophotons. So now I am coming to one or two patients of mine. This is a 42-year-old adenocarcinoma colon. She came to me after conventionally treated in the US with chemotherapy, surgery, and radiation. Then this was recurred in 6 months' time, and again chemotherapy was done. Gel condition became very bad and sent in for palliative pain care. So she is from Andhra, and so she came back to India and consulted me in January 2016. So we followed the same protocol that I have showed, and with monthly follow-up for 1 year. And after 1 year, she became perfectly healthy, in good health. I don't say I didn't give her back any organs or anything, but she's been very healthy. She's returned to US, doing her own business now, and she is also teaching wellness to a lot of people. And the last follow-up, she had been here about a week back, August 2020, and she is still going very strong. So you can see a person who is sent for palliative care in 2016. She is leading a normal life even at the age of another 32-year-old female breast cancer patient came with stage 4, unwilling. She was not willing for chemotherapy or radiotherapy. So we followed her for three months, especially with the functional wellness protocol. Then I sent her for operation, because I said, okay, you have a tumor, it has to be removed. So wide excision was done on the 4th month. And post-operative wellness, then again wellness treatment. Now she is only on nutrition and diet and dietary supplements. Last review in June 2022. So now that means she has been now almost 6-7 years. She is perfectly normal, metabolically balanced, in good health. She is leading in the IT field. And one more example I will show in emergency medicine. A 42-year-old female referred from ICU, post-viral infection and septicemia, and she went in coma and was on ventilator for 7 days. No improvement, and they wanted to switch off the ventilator because it was a VIP, so they wanted to try, and because some of the people knew me, so they referred to me. So I went there, and she was what I did. I cannot do anything. I only put her on high dose of vitamin C. High dose of vitamin C means it is 30 grams immediately within 45 minutes, and again the 30 grams in next 12 hours. Then you can see increase the dosage every day, and after 72 hours, she started responding, and then put on metabolic wellness protocol, discharged home after 7 days. The patient is happy now, no problem. So now reviewed after 1 year, no defects or other problems. So so even in emergency medicine, you can integrate nutritional intervention. And I will say that it is because what happens is vitamin C can open up the capillaries, because microcapillary block, especially which is happening in septic shock, can be opened. Then only the medicine start working. So this is from our experience from 2014. So 2014 to 2022, diabetes around 7,900 cases, along with some maybe comorbidities. Total number of cases were 9,100. Cancer 5,150. Heart disease 1,800. Autoimmune disease 1,230, and others comprise a lot of other various disease, which comprise around 920. So final inference is quality of life, added life in years is around more than 240%. So I'm very happy, because what all things you do, we want only to improve the quality of life.
Sir,
So,
I want to ask.
Yeah.
So sorry to disturb you. Sir, I just want to ask that what all disease can be treated by this integrative therapy now? Because speaking about cancer and diabetes, and you have also spoken about a case where sepsis has also been treated. So what all things people can just come for treatment?
I will say almost all lifestyle diseases, especially when you say autoimmune diseases like psoriasis, rheumatoid arthritis, and other things, and all these cases. And we have come across multiple sclerosis, glioblastoma, which is all brain related, lot of things, and even stroke, even in acute care. And also because I am attached to, because we are doing emergency care in one of the major hospital here, so we'll be managing in the even in the intensive coronary care unit. We are actually interfering with the nutritional intervention also. So and also in head and neck cancer, in Amrita Institute, I am actually balancing the head and neck malignancy, especially preparing the patient before surgery, so that have a better morbidity, no much morbidity after the surgery. And so emergency medicine, and in conventional, all type of diseases you can manage. Only thing, emergency care, especially you need hospitals. So some hospitals, maybe in Cochin, some few hospitals are now, because I was here practicing here for the last 20 years. So a lot of doctors know, and so because of that, you could enter into the all these departments, and Even though I'm not a cardiologist or maybe neurologist, my specialty is different, but wellness comes, it is actually covering up everything. And you can see that you can integrate with a lot of, especially heart disease, it is having a much better result because you don't have to go for unnecessary bypass surgery, unnecessary maybe hospitalization, and so it is different almost all. And even on COVID protocol, we had developed COVID protocol, and even in emergency care, I have given to Harshavardhan was the minister, so I knew him because he was also from my same specialty. So I just sent him, and he introduced that in the I think in AIDS, an emergency medicine protocol. So that is how some of the medicines which have gone in, and maybe in different countries also. So emergency, especially viral infection prevention, and maybe you can say any time, because initially I was reluctant. Now, because of 20 years of my experience, anybody comes and asks me, I will say, can even psychiatric ailments, mental health, it was never in my field because I think now I am doing a lot of psychiatric patients reversal and getting them out of medicines and improving them. So you can say anything which is lifestyle disease or infectious disease, anything you can manage. And even in palliative care, that also, even especially you can say we have 2-3 geriatric homes here where there's treat sick people. I am their consultant, goes there and make their life little happy. You cannot do nothing much, but everywhere you have to have this wellness. And I am very happy that the cracks CWC is coming up in a big way, so that they can actually influence each and every segment of life of the people.
Right, sir. So one more thing, like I just hope that the way you are doing it in Kochi or in Ames, we may replicate this model everywhere because it have got a lot of potential in treating people. So I just
Sure.
believe that if people learn more about it, but how long does it take for a person who is into this particular treatment to see the results? If suppose somebody is suffering, because at times people become bit like chaotic, they do not because with modern medicines what we are seeing is that immediate results are coming with
See,
immediate medicine.
what you can do is, people who are really sick, we can combine the two. You give the modern medicine and this, so that symptoms are being taken care of, and then you can start this, and then you can withdraw the medicines later on. So that is a way in which integrate it, especially. Otherwise, it cannot work, because you cannot have all the things at one go. So you can integrate it very easily in the hospitals. And I feel, because in Australia, because I am a regular visitor to Australia, and there in most of the hospitals they are putting up the wellness and nutritional medicine practitioners, so that it becomes a part of the department, so that they can integrate a lot of things.
Great, sir. Thank you so much for like
You're welcome.
explaining layer by layer everything from inside out and outside in. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome. So before you are asking about functional wellness centers, and I will say the nearest wellness outlets need qualified and experienced doctors, nutritionists, and other people. And PHC to be replaced by HWC. The primary healthcare center should be replaced by health and wellness center. That is what I will say. Maybe CWC can do something on that, which is actually maybe the government of India's pilot prime project on that. And we have to create a lot of health and wellness educators. I'm not saying all it should be some doctors should be there, but other people are actually working behind. Especially I have seen a lot of people who are in. So this is the budget. What do you call it budget? Is because health is wealth. Some people ask me, what is the expense involved? I say your health is your wealth. How much money you need, you create more health. So that is
Right. So this week, people have got a much clear idea about
right.
that
Yeah.
investment in health is most important investment in life.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for like making us explain this evolution process, like how we have originated from the single cell organism to a colony of cells, and apart from that, how each cell functions and what is the methodology, and layer by layer, from stimulation to sensitization, how can we work on nutrition and all the basic level. In fact, yoga and all can be very helpful. Thank you so much, sir. So we have some questions
You're
from
welcome.
the audience who are attending the session. I would like to
Yeah.
invite one second, sir. Just give
Dr.
me a moment.
Maitri is there. She is one of our ex-speakers, Dr. Vandana.
Yes, sir. There is a lot of
And,
questions from her side. She also want to know about the protocol that
Yes.
will it be available or not. So can I invite her? Ma'am,
Yeah,
are you
please,
there?
please,
Yeah,
Maitri
please
ma'am, are you
invite
there?
her.
Yeah.
Let us invite Dr. Maitri Shankar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
hi. Very
Azhar, can you
detailed.
please spotlight Dr. Maitri?
Yes, sir, she is here with us.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Dr. Maitri. Go on.
Yeah, a wonderful talk, Dr. Sriram. A couple of things I also learned. I think lifestyle modification is going to become more and more popular, and I think specialists should make this a foundation of their practices. I've been practicing for about 27 years now, both in the US and now in India. I'm a physician, so mainly we do a lot of PET CT scans and cardiac scans, treatment and diagnosis and staging of cancer. The American Board of Lifestyle Medicine has an exam now which you can take, certify, and become more proficient in including lifestyle into your practice. That's what I did recently for 3-4 years ago when I was myself diagnosed with diabetes, and that's when the realization came. There is so much we doctors are not taught really in medical schools during our training. So a lot of learnings and synergy in our workings. I gave a TED talk last month mainly on this topic of lifestyle medicine, and written a book also. It's called Is. It addresses first 4-5 chapters are mainly on food, what you can do, what you can buy, organic, the enchilada, the entire works, and each chapter on specific lifestyle diseases, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, osteoporosis, dementia, Alzheimer's is also often related, a lot of gut disorders, autoimmune diseases, thyroid. So I've been practicing this now for the past 3 years, and I'm seeing pretty good results because even thyroid patients get referred to us for iodine therapy. I'm kind of hesitant to burn the gland even before trying other alternatives. Quite a few medical articles researched, which I researched and kind of made me get the confidence to even try it. So it is often underlooked. It's perhaps because not so much validation is there in the medical literature, but I think that's where we clinicians can help and chip in and bridge that gap. I was in Cochin a few years ago. I think Dr. Shanmugam, who heads nuclear medicine there, had called me for a talk or something like that. So maybe next time I'm there, I'll come visit you. That will be nice to connect with you. And then even understand what you're doing. So US, right? Dr. Ornish, Pritkins, these are all physicians cardiologists who have been doing very intense lifestyle modification programs. Some of them are even validated by Medicare or the national insurance companies as they get reimbursed as well. And I think it will be great to understand what you're doing and how it can work better in the Indian context. And like the host was suggesting, have replicated in multiple ones. So you can, definitely that is something. I'll probably connect with you offline and we can maybe that. But yeah, thank you for your talk.
Thank you, Maitri, for being here. Any more questions? If anybody is having, then they can please ask.
I would like to know a bit more about, you mentioned a term called superoxide.
Yeah.
Much of it nowadays. So can you elaborate a bit more what it is and how we are getting more and how we can reduce that?
Yeah. Because one of the main principle of oxygen, especially if you really understand the chemistry of oxygen is on one side, it can create life, and on the other side, it can destroy life. So anything that is using oxygen has to be utilized. If it is unutilized, it is converted into oxidative or free radicals and oxidative stress. So inside the body, what happens? Each oxygen molecule, I have shown just a slide and I didn't explain it. It needs 4 electrons to actually convert this into the maybe the safe water and other things. So in all the process, it has got 3-4 steps, and in these 3-4 steps, you require a lot of minerals to support this. So when that becomes deficient, and that is what happens today, and that is why you are having more of superoxide. So that is why I used to say, when you are doing physical exercise, when you are doing yoga, or when you are doing breathing exercise, sometimes it is actually doing the opposite thing. And even when we give oxygen in the hospitals, when we give oxygen when the oxygen concentration goes down, I will say, if you give oxygen, actually you are destroying the patient, you are killing the patient. So it is not like that. It don't work like that. So once you understand the oxidative stress phenomenon, then you can see, because the reactive oxygen species. So when you say that, you can say that this is one of the most important criteria in which you are landing with complication of diabetes, diabetic nephropathy, diabetic chronic ulcer, and leading to amputation. And I have to tell you that what all diabetic ulcer came patients who had come to me, 100% I have avoided amputation. Because if you really correctly manage this, you can actually reverse even at the last stage of amputation stage.
Wow.
So even in nephropathy also. So this is actually what you see is a lot of the reactive oxygen species or superoxide is coming, and little bit 4% is actually essential for it. But more than 4% when it comes, it is actually destroying it. So 4%, I told you, it is essential for the WBCs to work against all bacteria and other things, phagocytosis, foreign bodies. And when it becomes too much, your body cannot tolerate it, and that is why medicines won't work. Sometimes even in emergency medicine, what happens with vitamin C is vitamin C actually will help in converting this into the superoxide. So and another thing is, it can open up the capillaries, the blocked capillaries, and the blocks can be dissolved. So that is how it works, and then you can say that all the medicines also work, all other parameters. Otherwise, nothing will work. So when you are combining, especially when you are saying concentrating too much on oxygen, especially we say it is prana, and especially when you say that prana is very essential, but that is also very dangerous if you don't use it properly. So I used to highlight this mostly because this is actually destroying us today, because too much of interest, and we say we have to breathe in too much of oxygen, but you also have to have. So one of the basic, especially if you really look into the energy metabolism, because there was no much time for it. So oxygen has to meet hydrogen inside the mitochondria to produce energy. So oxygen and hydrogen are very active or reactive molecules. If they combine, it produces hydrogen bomb, or you can say it is the fuel of the rocket. So you can see from where it is being launched. So you look at inside your cells, you are manufacturing how many ATPs a day or in a minute. And when you look at your body temperature, so much powerful it is. And so the oxygen is not a simple thing to handle. So it is handled with care. So only thing, hydrogen comes from water, and maybe the glucose is another most important source. But to convert that into hydrogen molecule, that is the power of mitochondria. Mitochondria has got all the power to extract hydrogen, and you need a lot of minerals, lot of other antioxidants to support it. That is why we say Krebs cycle and all the biochemical cycles which is happening in the energy metabolism. And this has to be taken care of, not insulin. That is why the medical treatment of diabetes failed, and you cannot reverse it, because it is not insulin alone that is going to do that. Insulin is only a gatekeeper, especially in glucose metabolism, allowing the glucose to enter into the cell. So all the metabolic changes are happening with other things. So that is why insulin is considered as, I take insulin, I measure insulin in all the patients. I have seen in almost 90% of the diabetic patients, insulin level is very high. Then why do you give insulin again? It can convert, it will produce fatty liver, it can produce all sorts of complications that we look today. So anyway, oxygen, you have raised this question. That is why I'm just elaborating on that. It is a very vast subject, especially on superoxide. By very innocent thing, but it became very prominent today because of our lifestyle, because of our inadequate micronutrient density of the food that we consume is very low. So that is one of the reasons, and toxins are coming up.
Thank you so much, sir. So the way you have explained about cellular nutrition is just amazing. The role of micronutrients, because normally people just think that micronutrient is for certain deficiency, but
Yeah,
how
yeah.
it can work on cellular level so as to optimize each and every cycle going on there is just amazing. I hope it is a very good learning session for all the people who are attending the session. Thank you for being there, and I just hope, sir, that we learn more insights about it through major case studies and the protocols to be followed, emphasizing on individual nutrition. And apart from that, as Dr. Anjikar have sir have said that genomics and pharmacogenomics is again a
Yeah.
field which needs to be explored, and people like normal masses should be aware about all the alternative systems which are available, so that people can just think of all these things as a common channel. uh, Shrikumar sir, one thing you have explained in this particular session, that how environment play a very important role, how we breathe again is very important
Yeah.
during practice while practicing yoga. Either we are doing it in a busy street or in a closed environment, how it can have impact. I think we all have learned about it a lot, and we are also looking forward to learn again from you, sir. So I just hope that you can manage time to be over here with us, explaining in more details about all these topics. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you, Vandanaji. Thank you so much for conducting the session so well. And we can't thank enough Dr. Ranjekar for telling us again what nutrigenomics and how it started. And Dr. Srikumar, you are a wealth of knowledge. All I would say, we our questions chalte rahenge hamare, but aapke jawab khatam nahi honge. And you give such an elaborate answer, which is very logical, and also we can put it in our use in our day-to-day lives. There were certain questions in between. Somebody was asking, I missed, my internet connection was poor. So, jo aapko link aaya hai, there is a YouTube link also on that. So please go and watch, you can watch the session again on the YouTube using that link, which has already been shared with everybody. So thank you once again to both the speakers. We would like to say some more thanks to our people who support us. Just give me a minute, I'll share my PowerPoint. Is my screen visible?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So we heard such a wonderful talk today, and we can't let Dr. Srikumar go away without, satiating our hunger more. So we will have him again on Sunday, 4th of September at 11 a.m. and where we'll talk more about application of nutrigenomics, and he will share some more success stories. वो हमारे को भी encourage करेंगी, because what we heard today was a very different way of treating a patient. It's not just that you go to doctor, he gives you a medicine and out you go. There is a detailed analysis that goes, followed by what is suitable for you as an individual, so that you recover from faster and from any disease that you might be suffering. So do join in this session, Sunday, 4th of September at 11 a.m. Next week's program, we had planned for something else, but a lot of requests came in that viral fever is spreading far and wide all across the country. So we must bring some experts on that. So we thought, okay, we will bring an allopathic as also an Ayurvedic and naturopathic perspective to the talk, which is on next Sunday, 11 a.m. Our experts would be Professor Dr. Puneet Saxena. He is a medical professor at SMS Medical College and Hospital, Jaipur. And then we have Dr. Kiran Gupta. She is from Naturopathy Center, Jaipur. Thanks to all our partners, strategic knowledge partners, which is IHMR University and IS University. And then we have our community partners. Some more partners, so that tells you how many people are behind all this initiative that we are taking up. Pro bono partners, they help us run our business, meeting all government requirements. And of course, team of doctors, Dr. Sudhir Bhandari, Dr. Sheila Nambia, Dr. Sunil Jain, Dr. Rashmi Jain, and Dr. Chavi Mehra. Core team of advisors, Sarvinder Multani ji, Adi Gurudas, Jitendra Gautam, and Arushi. Then we have our ambassadors, Mahir Pratap Sharma ji, Neeta Buchra ji, and Major General CP Singh Saab. Thank you all the ambassadors. Management team, Mr. Naren Bakshi, who is the founder, fountainhead of all this that we have been doing. I am in command of the accounts. I'm there with you. Then we heard Sharad right in the beginning when he was introducing Vandanaji. We have Tushar Garg giving us technical support, Umardin and Mohammad Azharuddin ji. You can follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. We are there more or less on all the social platforms. So do make use of our presence and benefit from it. So from the time I heard first talk on nutrigenomics, I said, okay, so far we used to hear we are what we eat. But the new mantra is we are what we eat, metabolize, absorb. And today we heard Dr. Shikumar gave so much emphasis on it, detoxification. You may take all the nutrients in the world, but if the detoxification is not taking place properly, it will not help you. So thank you so much, Dr. Shikumar, for once again highlighting this aspect. Again, next week's program, Preventing and Managing Viral Infections, Allopathic and Ayurvedic Perspective, Sunday, 28th August, 11 a.m. Professor Dr. Puneet Saxena and Dr. Kiran Gupta. Thank you once again, everybody, for joining us and patronizing us. Thanks a ton to all our speakers, Vandanaji for moderating, Dr. Shikumar and Dr. Prabhakar Ranjikar Saab. Thanks once again. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.